Hey all. All right, it's what, like 6 something in the morning. I've been awake since just before 4. I don't sleep as much these days. Well, I sleep in small spurts, it seems. Those who know can't sleep. And I just wanted to, you know, maybe mention, and these videos aren't super organized. I'm just kind of, when something comes to my mind, just get on here and chat about it to make people aware. Um, have you ever heard of the good cop versus bad cop? We all know that exists. They play you one side against the other, trying to get the answers they want out of you. Well, you have to look at this whole political thing and this child trafficking thing the same way. At the head of it, they want to blame the Clintons, the Catholics, the priests, all this other stuff. But in reality, they're all one and the same. They just look like they're different sides, just like the good cop, bad cop. The religions are tied right into it. Now, in our case, it's kind of prompted us to do some investigating on the entire situation. And we have tied one of the biggest religious organizations here in the South and all their affiliates in with all the overseas trafficking in Uganda, and what are the other countries? The Uganda, Haiti, all the things that they tied to the Clintons. I'll probably get banned for using that word, but the religions are tied into the same trafficking. They go to these villages and they tell these mothers that have a lot of children that they are going to give the kids an opportunity to go to school in the city. And based on news articles we've read, sometimes these kids are even with relatives who act like they're their mothers. And they sign the rights to take them to this so-called school in the city in these foreign countries through ministries. And then from there, they're told they can see their kids in the summer. And then when they go to collect them that first summer, they're gone and adopted out to the United States and a few other countries. And the kids are missing. And some of them are traceable to families in these other countries, and some of them they just can't find. All to the mother's dismay when she thinks she sent them to a private school to get a better education because they think that child is the smarter one of, say, 7 or 8 kids. But it's all one and the same. They just seem to be letting the Clintock name, I guess I should make sure I say that without saying it all the way. They let that name and the Catholics take the fall when there's so many other religions in these ministries that are doing the same very thing, and it's being done domestically. And our case has proven that. They traffic domestically and then do everything they can to cover it up. The crimes that have been committed against this family, us here, it goes deep. And they all cover it up through police, through courts, through whatever, because the religions control everything, and the Freemasons. And the lower level Freemasons, they don't know anything about that. It's the upper levels. So while the lower level Freemasons are defending the Freemasons, they really don't have a clue what goes on up higher. And I'm not saying I have a clue. I'm not involved in it. I just know the basics of what goes on up because I've studied it. I've done my research. I've done my diligence on looking all this up and understanding it and talking with people. But it's all one and the same monkey, basically. It's a good cop, bad cop situation, except you've got the extremist on one end and the extremist on the other. But they're all working together in the background for the same agenda. It's just the public's not aware of that or awake enough to see it. So the video today was just basically, I had that on my mind. We know who's involved in the background, and they can put it under the name of CPS and the Clintons changing all the rules in CPS to traffic. I'm not even going to try to cover up the name for this algorithm thing. It is what it is. and the public needs to know. But they can blame it all on the CPS and the Clinton rules that changed when the Clintons took presidency. But it's the religious groups that are tied to it as well. For some reason, they've just named the Clintons as everything, because I think that they feel it's going to put the world into mass panic to know that the religions are behind a lot of the trafficking as well. So I'm just going to say it because no one else will. It's time for the public to awaken that, religions that the followers that follow don't know what's going on in the background. And if they do, they're brainwashed into believing that it's for the good. Now, in our case, here in Mississippi, they can't find anything wrong with the mother. No drugs, no alcohol, no abuse, no neglect. So they have two things, and this is a religious backing that's done this. Well, first of all, they won't let the divorce go through. It's been 4 years. So one of these issues could be resolved rather quickly. The one issue that the GAL keeps bringing up is that Misty's still married to somebody else on paper when their emotional ties were cut years ago. And we've been in a bona fide relationship, stable relationship for 4 years now. But they keep writing, this GAL keeps writing on the fact that she's having an extramarital affair. Well, it wouldn't be an extramarital affair if they would have let this divorce go through 4 years ago when it should have. People aren't going to stall their lives for a divorce that takes 4 years. People are going to get on with it. So this GAL is still writing on the fact that she's having an extramarital affair because she's still legally married. Well, if this divorce would have gone through when it was supposed to 4 years ago, that wouldn't be an issue. And it's the religious people behind this case that seem to have some pull that are leaning on that. The other thing is that we're in a lesbian relationship. And it's the Christians that are saying that we don't have moral and value issues, when the very people involved with the same hearsay that the GAL wants to use in this case, the same people involved, the same community that's saying all the hearsay about us, has told us that they're all into swinging and swapping partners. So how is that any more moral or have moral values than us being in a lesbian relationship? They swap partners and they're still married. They're violating their marital vows, but they're allowed to use hearsay on us and say that we're not moral. But yet the law says we can marry. And we have nothing but love here. We don't break laws. We're service to others people. We help everybody. So we know what's behind our case, and the South is just really trying to push it. We also know the large organization with the initials A.F.A, and I'm not going to say that, but you can figure it out, runs all the religions here. And you're not going to be able to convince me otherwise that they've had pull in the background of this case. And maybe they're blackmailing or bribing or something with these people to make them keep pushing this after 4 years. You cannot make a standard divorce with one house, one property, and 2 children last 4 years without it being a little suspicious that crimes are being covered up, on top of what's been done to us here. How they're pulling this off in the public eye and how people aren't more outraged about this. 4 years and they won't let this divorce go through. They don't want to resolve this issue. They just keep leaving these kids without their natural family. This mother has done nothing wrong. And they've spent 4 years and been allowed to spend 4 years trying to find a reason not to return these kids. And I can't see why more people aren't outraged about this and pressuring this state into doing the right thing.